When we think of dinosaurs, massive creatures like Tyrannosaurus rex or the gentle giants like Brachiosaurus come to mind, roaming lush prehistoric landscapes. But to truly understand how climate shaped the fate of these incredible animals, we need to go back even further, to the world before dinosaurs ruled the Earth. The story begins around 150 million years ago. At the very end of the Permian period and the dawn of the Triassic, Earth was recovering from the most devastating mass extinction event in its history. The Permian-Triassic extinction, sometimes called the Great Dying. This catastrophic event wiped out an estimated 90 to 95% of marine species and about 70% of terrestrial vertebrates. The causes are still debated, but massive volcanic eruptions, climate shifts, and changes in ocean chemistry played key roles. What was the climate like in this grim aftermath? The answer is complex. The planet was hot, dry, and unstable. Vast deserts stretched across the supercontinent Pangaea, a gigantic landmass made up of nearly all Earth's continents joined together. Monsoonal weather patterns emerged in some regions, causing seasonal rains but leaving huge areas arid and inhospitable. Despite this harsh environment, life found a way to survive and adapt. The Triassic period, which lasted from about 252 to 201 million years ago, was a time of slow recovery and new beginnings. Early dinosaurs appeared, but they were small and relatively rare, competing with other reptiles like crocodile ancestors and mammal-like synapsids. Plants in this era were mostly conifers, cycads, and ferns, all adapted to dry conditions. The lack of flowering plants, which wouldn't evolve until much later, meant that the ecosystem had a very different structure than what we are used to today. Forests were sparse in some places, but dense in others, particularly along riverbanks and coastal areas. The climate during the early Triassic was generally warmer than today, with little to no polar ice caps. But as the Triassic progressed, the climate began to shift. Evidence from rock layers and fossilized soils shows that monsoons became stronger in some regions and rainfall patterns changed. These shifts allowed ecosystems to diversify, giving dinosaurs more opportunities to evolve and spread. One of the most crucial factors was the fragmentation of Pangaea toward the late Triassic. As the supercontinent started to break apart, it changed ocean currents and atmospheric circulation, slowly making climates more varied and habitats more diverse. This diversity became a playground for evolution. While the early dinosaurs were still relatively small and overshadowed by other reptiles, their ability to adapt to changing climates gave them an edge. They evolved different body shapes, diets, and survival strategies suited to varied environments from deserts to floodplains. So, the stage was set, a warming world recovering from catastrophe, with shifting weather patterns and new ecological niches. This fragile balance between climate and life would shape the rise of the dinosaurs and ultimately determine their fate. Understanding this ancient climate helps us appreciate the dinosaurs not just as giant monsters, but as survivors in a dynamic world where the environment could be as dangerous as any predator. As we move deeper into the Mesozoic Era, the Triassic period was drawing to a close, and the world was undergoing some of the most dramatic climatic shifts it had ever seen. These changes were subtle at first, but they set the stage for the dinosaurs to rise from relatively minor players to dominant rulers of the Earth. One of the most significant forces driving these shifts was massive volcanic activity. Around 101 million years ago, the Central Atlantic magmatic province camp began to erupt. This was one of the largest volcanic events in Earth's history, spewing vast amounts of lava and volcanic gases into the atmosphere. The gases, especially carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, triggered rapid climate warming, acid rain, and disruptions to the planet's ecosystems. This volcanic episode coincided with the Triassic-Jurassic extinction event, which wiped out many competing reptile groups and cleared ecological niches. The extinction allowed dinosaurs to diversify and occupy many new habitats that had been previously dominated by other animals. The climate during this time became increasingly unstable. High carbon dioxide levels created a greenhouse effect, warming the planet significantly. However, Evidence from fossil records shows wild fluctuations in temperature and precipitation, with cycles of wet and dry conditions. These shifting environments tested the adaptability of many species. Dinosaurs, with their unique physiology and diverse body plans, were particularly suited to survive and thrive under these new conditions. Some species evolved to be fast and agile predators, while others grew massive and herbivorous. Feeding on the expanding forests and fern plains, the breakup of Pangaea was also accelerating. As this enormous landmass fragmented into smaller continents, ocean currents and wind patterns changed, leading to more varied and localized climates. This created isolated environments where dinosaurs could evolve in different directions, leading to the spectacular diversity seen in the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. The rise of dinosaurs was not just about their biological advantages, but also about how they responded to climate challenges. For example, some early dinosaurs developed efficient respiratory systems, which may have helped them cope with low oxygen levels caused by volcanic eruptions. Others evolved social behaviors which increased their survival odds in volatile environments. Meanwhile, plants were evolving as well. The spread of conifers and other gymnosperms created vast forests that not only provided food and shelter but also influenced the atmosphere. By absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen, this interplay between plants, climate, and dinosaurs formed a complex web of life that continued to evolve. It's important to realize that the dinosaurs' dominance was not inevitable. The shifting climate was a double-edged sword. While it opened opportunities for dinosaurs, it also led to frequent environmental stresses, droughts, storms, and habitat loss. Many species went extinct during this turbulent period, replaced by new ones better adapted to changing conditions. In short, the late Triassic and early Jurassic were a time of dynamic change, a planetary roller coaster of climate and evolution. Dinosaurs emerged as winners by evolving alongside these changes, adapting their shapes, sizes, and behaviors to fit an ever-changing world. But this story is far from over. The climate would continue to shift dramatically, culminating in the catastrophic events at the end of the Cretaceous that would seal the fate of these incredible creatures. As the Cretaceous period unfolded, dinosaurs had flourished for millions of years, adapting to diverse environments across the globe. But beneath the surface of this thriving world, forces were gathering that would abruptly and catastrophically change the course of life on Earth. Around 66 million years ago, near the end of the Cretaceous, a colossal asteroid, estimated to be about 10 kilometers wide, hurtled toward our planet. This event is famously known as the Chicxulub impact, named after the crater it left behind in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact unleashed unimaginable energy, equivalent to billions of atomic bombs exploding simultaneously. It vaporized everything at the impact site, sending massive shockwaves, wildfires, and tsunamis across the planet. But the immediate destruction was only the beginning. One of the most profound effects of the asteroid impact was how it altered Earth's climate. Tons of dust, soot, and sulfur-rich gases were blasted into the atmosphere, creating a dense, global cloud cover. This effectively blocked sunlight from reaching the surface for months or even years, plunging the planet into darkness, a nuclear winter scenario. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stalled. Plants died off rapidly, collapsing food chains from the bottom up. Herbivorous dinosaurs faced starvation, and carnivores soon followed. The temperature plummeted worldwide, dropping by as much as 10 to 15 degrees Celsius in many regions. But the climate chaos didn't end there. Following the darkness came a period of intense greenhouse warming. The massive amounts of carbon dioxide released from the impact and volcanic activity caused temperatures to spike dramatically after the initial cooling phase. Speaking of volcanism, around the same time, the Deccan Traps in present-day India were erupting. These enormous volcanic flows released vast quantities of lava and gases over hundreds of thousands of years, compounding the climate disruptions. The sulfur gases caused acid rain, further damaging ecosystems, while the CO2 intensified the greenhouse effect. This deadly combination of asteroid impact, and volcanic fury created one of the most extreme climate events in Earth's history. Scientists call this the Cretaceous-Paleogene KPG extinction event, and it wiped out approximately 75% of all species on Earth, including all non-avian dinosaurs. The climatic consequences were devastating. Sunlight deprivation caused a collapse in photosynthesis, killing plants and plankton alike. Global cooling in the months and years after impact led to widespread freezing conditions. In many regions, acid rain poisoned freshwater and soil environments, making survival even more difficult. Greenhouse warming in the longer term destabilized climates and habitats further. Dinosaurs, despite their millions of years of evolution and adaptability, were unable to survive this rapid, multifaceted climate catastrophe. Their large bodies, high energy requirements, and specialized diets made it impossible to cope with such extreme environmental stress. Interestingly, some groups did survive this event, such as small mammals and birds, the direct descendants of certain theropod dinosaurs. Their smaller sizes, versatile diets, and abilities to burrow or fly likely gave them an advantage in surviving the harsh aftermath. The end of the dinosaurs was not just about a single impact or eruption, but a complex interplay of climatic upheavals, sudden darkness, freezing cold, acid rain, and intense greenhouse warming. Together, these forces reshaped life on Earth, wiping out the giants and paving the way for mammals to eventually rise. With the catastrophic events at the end of the Cretaceous, the fate of the dinosaurs was sealed. But the story didn't end there. It was only the beginning of a new chapter in Earth's history, one shaped profoundly by climate and its ever-changing nature. As the dust settled and the skies cleared after the asteroid impact and volcanic eruptions, the Earth entered a period of ecological turmoil. Many ecosystems lay in ruins with countless species extinct. The global climate remained unstable for thousands of years, fluctuating between warm and cool phases as the planet slowly healed. Among the survivors were small mammals, reptiles, birds, and other hardy creatures. These survivors were often small-bodied, able to hide in burrows or trees, and flexible in their diets and habitats. Their success in this harsh new world was a direct result of their ability to cope with drastic climate shifts. The extinction of non-avian dinosaurs opened ecological niches that mammals rapidly evolved to fill. Over millions of years, these mammals diversified, growing larger and more complex, eventually giving rise to the vast array of species we see today, including humans. The long-term effects of the climatic upheaval serve as a powerful reminder of how tightly life is connected to Earth's environment. From the Permian mass extinction to the KPG event, sudden shifts in climate have repeatedly rewritten the story of life, selecting for resilience and adaptability. Interestingly, climate change isn't just a destructive force, it's also a creative one. It drives evolution by challenging species to adapt or perish. The dinosaurs' fate highlights both sides of this truth. Their rise was fueled by favorable climates, and their fall was hastened by catastrophic climate shifts. Today, as we face rapid climate changes ourselves, the lessons from the past are more relevant than ever. Understanding how ancient climates shaped the history of life on Earth can help us predict potential outcomes for modern ecosystems and prepare for the future. In the end, the dinosaurs remain one of the most fascinating examples of life's struggle against the forces of nature. Their story is one of triumph and tragedy, written in the rocks, fossils, and climate records that continue to teach us about survival, change, and the incredible resilience of life.